giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Hip, hip. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We're streaming live on YouTube, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What an interesting football weekend for these Dallas Cowboys, huh? Dallas could be facing the end of the Tyron Smith era, and we're going to talk about it today. I got 4 scenarios. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 scenarios the Cowboys could potentially be facing in the next, 2, 3, 4 weeks or so. We're going to talk about it. I'm also going to talk about where they dropped the ball. Yeah, I think they dropped the ball, but it wasn't this past season. It wasn't this past week. It wasn't even this past weekend. I'm going to tell you exactly the one spot, the particular, detailed spot where they dropped the ball in this Tyron Smith thing. And of course, we got the roundup coming up, and we'll touch on some nuggets coming out the combine and the latest rounds of meetings that the Cowboys had over there at the combine with the offensive linemen. Good morning, Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
Hey, I see you peeped the setup. It's a little different. Look, we're getting into the multiverse sky now, okay? We're trying, y'all know me. I'm always trying to upgrade. Appreciate you guys taking notice of said upgrade. We'll continue to do so. The studio was under major construction this weekend. My lady was about tired of me asking for her help and doing some things, but shouts out to my wonderful wife, Michelle, for helping me kind of get through all of this. It was a one-man band, but it wouldn't have been done if she wasn't here to help me with it. So shouts out to wifey. But we're continuing. We're trying some things out for you guys, man. We're going to keep trying to upgrade. Y'all know how I am. Yeah, I can't just sit still. I got to continue to get better. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. Before we move on, though, I do want to say, rest in peace to Chris Mortensen, who just passed away. I believe it was yesterday. Crazy touching tribute or whatever they did on NFL Network. I don't even know if it was a tribute. It kind of was just breaking news. He passed away, and Dan Jeremiah got really emotional. It's so crazy as you get older, and these things continue to happen. Chris Mortensen, John Clayton, 2 icons to me. I grew up. I was a when it came to sports coverage, journalism, and things like that. I don't know why, but like the Chris Mortensen, the John Claytons, all these type of reporters and shows kind of stuck with me because I always wanted to know about the ins and outs of the league, not just what I watched on TV from the game perspective. So when you're seeing some of these icons, leave, it's kind of crazy. So, rest in peace to him. Condolences to his family. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys grew up on the Mort Report and grew up on, John Clayton's of the world, man. Crazy. I'm only 72 years old, but rest in peace to Chris Mortensen. Here's what we're going to do, though. It's basically we're going to talk about this Tyron Smith situation in depth. And then tomorrow, if everything goes well, we'll have Foots on and we'll talk more combine. But I think this needs our undivided attention, right? Definitely. All right, let's get into it, Cowboys Nation.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It's time.
It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. Them boys was flying at the 40, huh? Hey, there was a lot of records or whatnot broke at this combine yesterday or this past weekend. And the biggest one was none other than Xavier Worthy wide receiver out of Texas, who ran a 4.21. Yeah. 4.21 40 after running a 4.25. And he wanted to break the record, and he indeed did so. And immediately, everybody was turning towards, oh, wait a minute, relax, John Ross. I don't know, man. This kid, while he is light, I don't know, his tape is fun, man. I feel like in the right situation, that 4.21 40 speed is real. He's legitimate after the catch. We're gonna break him down a little bit more likely with Foots. I think this kid's the real deal in the sense of his 4.21 40. I don't think this is a situation like a John Ross. I think he's more refined. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. And some people on the Twitter sphere were like, "Hey man, if he gets all the way down there to Patrick Mahomes and them boys," and it very well may be. You know, I don't even know if he was a top 25 type of guy until the 4.21 40. But again, we talked about this with Foots. You get into this combine, there's going to be players, and for me, I try not to let it influence me too much. But their combine movements and their measurements and the times and all this stuff, they're going to be moved up. He wasn't the only one. You had the Penn State tight end who broke the record for the RAS score. He had like a perfect 10 or more than a 10. I think he's like the only player to do it. But you also had this offensive line class look really good out there. I mean, this class, it feels and it looks more athletic and deeper than any class in recent memory. And maybe I'm just biased because the Cowboys met with 11 of these linemen, but I promise you I'm not. It does feel that way. And look, we're about to get into this Tyron thing right now. Cowboys met with, formally, that's the big one, formally met with 11 offensive linemen. And here are the guys that they met with. We'll read the names here. Maurice Mims, J.C. Latham, Jordan Morgan, Graham Barton, Isaiah Adams, Tylisi Fuaga, Troy Fatts, Tyler Guyton, Zach Frazier, Christian Jones. Some people are saying, "Oh, where's Jackson Powers Johnson?" They got a chance to really talk with him down at the Senior Bowl, so they didn't really necessarily need to waste one of their formal meetings on talking to Jackson Powers Johnson. But Dallas meeting with all these offensive linemen, and a high percentage of these guys are day one or day two guys, like first round guys. Let me just say that. First round guys. And it's very possible that some of these dudes won't even be there for them. But nonetheless, it is now a huge topic of conversation. Although for me, Tyron Smith news or not, I thought offensive linemen, whether it be a center or a tackle, was a legitimate conversation anyway. But here's why it is a conversation, Cowboys Nation. Reports came out yesterday that man right there, Tyron Smith, met with the Cowboys peoples. And unfortunately, they couldn't come to an agreement. And this is from Michael Gelkin. Cowboys met Friday at the Combine with left tackle Tyron Smith's agent. And the understanding is that they're expected to move in a different direction. A person familiar with the situation said. Hence, end of an era looming in Dallas. Okay, so emotions got really high when this came out. You know, everyone's on Twitter, giving their opinions, and I totally understand it. Especially when it's a player of this stature, right? People are saying this reminds me of DeMarcus Ware. After the season Tyron came off of, even, you know what I said when we were going through our free agents. Hey, this is a no-brainer to bring back under the same circumstances that you brought him back last year, though, right? But I didn't talk about the other side. The other side was, what if he doesn't want to come back on those same circumstances? What if he says, hey, I went out there, I played 13 games, probably could have played 14. We found a practice routine. I feel like I got another 2-3 years left in me. I don't want to play on $12-13 million. I gave y'all a discount. And he wants the bag. And Dallas says no. And that's kind of seems to be what's happening right now. Now, obviously, nothing is set in stone. Maybe he goes out in the market and the market says the same thing in the sense of, hey, we'll pay you to be here, but we're going to put you on the same plan. And then maybe he comes back and says, you know what? I don't want to go out. But right now, it looks like they will go into a different direction. So before we get into the other things, what does that mean from a money standpoint? A lot of people don't remember this part of the situation last year when they reworked his deal. They brought Tyron back on mostly an incentive-based deal where the more you play, the more we pay. 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90%. He'll get like $1 million extra. But when they did that, they restructured it to the point where he's going to cost you on the dead cap hit in 2024. So right now, as it stands, Tyron Smith is going to cost you $6 million to not be on the team if they don't work out a deal. If they do work out a deal, that cap charge could likely fall down, get cut in half, maybe go all the way down to like $1 million. But right now, it feels like that's not going to happen. But it's $6 million. It's not pennies. It's also not anything to go crazy over. But it's kind of right in that middle where it's like you don't want to see a $6 million dead cap at all. But we're also talking about the Cowboys. I mean, what are they going to do with it anyway? But this is not where they dropped the ball for me, Cowboys Nation. This is not where they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball to me when they decided to do what they always do. And that's be reactive instead of proactive. This organization seems to be allergic to being proactive. How many times do we say that, right? All last year, during draft season, if you guys remember, the conversation prior to the whole rework contract with Tyron Smith was, hey, look, you're going to bring him back, fine, but you have to plan to be without Tyron Smith. Not just in the short term, but in the long term. These fools did neither. They brought him back. I said, you can't bring this guy back and rely on him. They brought him back. And they waited to take an offensive lineman in the 5th round. And they said, we're going to roll with Chuma at left tackle. And they really even wanted him to be the left tackle. He was supposed to be here to be the guard. That 5th rounder you got, I like awesome. We'll see what happens. Couldn't beat out Chuma at left tackle. So they decided to be a reactive organization, meaning, okay, we're not going to take the future look here with Tyron. We'll see what happens, and we'll be. I'm sorry, they weren't proactive. I'm sorry, they were reactive. We'll take a look at what Tyron does, and we'll react to that. Well, now we're in this situation, but here's why we're in this situation. This is the specific moment, in my opinion, that has the Cowboys in this situation right now.
I'm ready to take the nose call.
I mean, we have them 1 and 2 together.
You got 2 minutes.
We're just getting warmed up.
Will, who would you take?
Personally, I would go with Mozzie because I know that he helps us now with the guard. I love the guard too. My question is, you're adding something to it where we have depth. I think the defensive lineman gives you an immediate starter and something for the future.
Here, I am cutthroat if we missed one of those 2 guys after having them both here in our hands.
We're better on the line of scrimmage with either one of these guys.
We've had offensive linemen there. We've had the opportunity to pick them. We've not had a defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman that high in quite some time.
We're good. Let's keep him on the phone.
That's it. That is the moment that they essentially dropped the ball here. And this is coming from a guy who I'm all for the Mozzie pick, right? I was all for the Mozzie pick. However, I was also for Bergeron. If you guys remember our mock draft we did, I only do 2 of them. I do a regular 1 mock draft, and then I do a Doomsday mock draft. Bergeron was my 2nd round pick in that mock draft. But you never know what the Cowboys are going to do. But then it came out that hey, this was down between Mozzie and Bergeron. Had the Cowboys elected to take Bergeron, who they viewed as a guard, right? Then you essentially would kick Tyler, or keep, not even kick, you keep Tyler Smith at left tackle. Now we're going back, right? Revisionist history. But you have Tyler Smith at left tackle. You have Bergeron at left guard for the foreseeable future. Bergeron ended up getting taken by the Falcons early in the second round, was their guard. Had an up and down season, but rookie, and you saw some good things there with Bergeron. Team was high on Bergeron. Here's what bugs me. If Tyron Smith was not in your plans past 2024, right? And if you didn't believe in Tyron Smith being in your plans or playing a whole bunch anyway in 2024, and if he did, you weren't going to sign him back, it was silly to then take the defensive tackle over the offensive lineman. And I like Mozzie, but it was silly to do that. Now they said in this video here, you know, hey, we got a starter and the depth. That was a weird thing too, to say the depth. You really didn't have no depth on the offensive line, so that was strange. But that's the word that they used. So it just bugs me that they had the chance to get ahead of this thing. They had the absolute chance to get ahead of it, and they dropped the ball, in my opinion. So now what do we do? How do we move forward? I think the key to the next part of what the Cowboys are going to do comes down to this guy right here. Tyler Smith. Last week, I don't want to say we poo-pooed it, but we listened to Stephen Jones talk, and they asked him about Tyler Smith. And he said, hey, man, where do you see Tyler Smith at? Is he purely going to be guard? Is he purely going to be a tackle? And this is what Stephen said.
Would you prefer to keep Tyler Smith at left guard? You know, that's, remains to be seen. I mean, it's starting to feel like Larry Allen all over again. I mean, the great thing about Tyler is his versatility. He could be a great left tackle, too. I mean, Larry Allen, I think, played either 1 or 1.5 or 2 years at left tackle. I think he made All-Pro those years, too. So Tyler's got that in it. And, I think at the end of the day, when we're, all through massaging it, we'll have a good spot for him. And the great news is we have Tyler Smith, and his versatility certainly brings options to the table in terms of how we look at this team as we move forward.
Last week it kind of was laughing at how he says certainly. I always bring this up with Tyler because him and Deron Bland actually are a very similar case where they can play multiple spots at a high level, and that gives you versatility going into free agency or the draft. But then there's the other side of it where there's also uncertainty. And the uncertainty is, well, if you don't have a certain position for one or the other, now you're kind of just waiting on whatever falls to you, and you're kind of once again being reactive to a situation rather than proactive to the situation. And amongst ourselves here in Cowboys Nation, there's a back and forth. I'll put Tyler at left tackle. Well, keep him at left guard. I think that conversation is a real conversation now without Tyron Smith. It is a real conversation, no matter what side of the fence you're on. Matter of fact, let me ask you guys real quick before I move forward here. Where do you stand with Tyler Smith now? Has your opinion changed now that Tyron is likely out of Dallas? Or you're like, nah, still keep him at guard. He was an all-pro guard. Although I think he has that type of talent as well at left tackle. I mean, I just think this kid is so good. He can do either or. But he showed you I can be an all-pro guard as a second-year player. I'd imagine, though, if you give him a full offseason, he could probably do the same damn thing at left tackle, in my opinion. But that's just me. So it doesn't really bother me where they put him. You just have to have a plan. And my problem is there really was no plan. Dude just went all-pro, right? And they asked Stephen Jones, hey, man, you keeping Tyler at left guard? I don't know about that yet. And I'd imagine that's because of the situation with Tyron. So we're with this situation right now with Tyron Smith. Where are you with Tyler Smith? Let me scroll back up here. Moving to left tackle. Toxic wants him to move, period, out of Dallas. Move left tackle. A lot of people starting to move left tackle. Big A keep him at guard. You hate it because of the timing, says Twan, and that's my thing. The timing sucks because you could have ripped this Band-Aid last year. You could have ripped it, and one could argue you'd be worse on the offensive line maybe last year, sure, but I think you'd be better for it now. And look, let's also say this real quick. While you may have been quote unquote worse because it's Tyron Smith, you also were worse in 2022 and you went 12-5. So let's not forget that. Tyron missed all of 2022 at left tackle. And you threw a rookie left tackle out there who guard, tackle, I don't know, a little bit unrefined, raw talent, and you went 12-5 with the growing pains. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say had you went Tyler Smith and Bergeron this year or the previous year, you would have been worse off. I'm just saying. By the way, call in line for those that don't know, 351-999-3787 if you want to call in and talk to your boy. Let's see here. Tyler Smith has to be left tackle now. It depends on how free agency goes, says Lee. That is another reason why I don't go too crazy with the draft just yet, because free agency it plays a factor. I know Dallas doesn't participate in free agency, but they do try to grab pieces that they can be BPA per se in the draft. So that is something, but I don't see them signing a big money left tackle anyway. I don't see them signing a starting left tackle. And we'll get to that in a second. We're going to talk about it. Yep, I think they're going to put him at left tackle. Left tackles, Tyler Smith, so a lot of people on this left tackle. Well, Toxic, I mean, you don't have a choice. I mean, I get your frustration as a fan, and as a fan, you're more than you can easily leave the team. These players get drafted to these teams. These players aren't like us. They're not going to go, hey, screw the Joneses. I hate you. I'm leaving. Nah, man, they got to go out there. They got to play hard. They got to put on and try to win. They're not thinking of it like we're thinking, Toxic. I mean, okay. So it also goes beyond Tyler Smith as well. There's another Tyler that could play a factor in what happens here. And those are the four scenarios I want to get into. But before we get into it, I thought this was a nugget that I don't want to say went missed over the weekend, but it got buried. It got buried underneath the Tyron Smith situation. And this could play a major factor, actually, in how the Cowboys address the draft. Michael Gelkin dropped this sometime like Saturday or Friday, maybe. He said, Cowboys are meeting with fewer agents at the combine compared to years past. We heard that before. No sit down, for example, was planned with this week with Dak Prescott's rep. By the way, Gelkin know what he doing. This whole next chunk, unnecessary. But you throw Dak's name in a tweet, Gelkin know what the hell he doing. No sit down, for example, was planned this week with Dak Prescott's rep. The cited rationale being the two sides have enough experience working with each other to render a check-in unnecessary. But, and here's the nugget, the team does have several meetings today, including with the reps of Tyron Smith and Tyler Biadasz. Huh. The Tyler Biadasz thing got buried a little bit. It got buried a little bit because I think that could play a factor, yo, in their decision on the offensive line. Meeting with Tyler Biadasz's reps alone just shows you there's interest in bringing it back. Now you can say, well, Scott, they meet with all the free agent reps. That's very possible, but they have to know, right? They have to know that Tyler Biadasz, he's not coming back to play on $2-3 million per year. Right, they're going to look at the market. I'm not saying this dude is Ragnow or anybody. But what did I say last year? We was joking about this coming into the season, but I 100% guarantee Tyler Biadasz' agent is going into that room and he's calling him what, y'all? What is he calling Tyler Biadasz? He ain't calling him Tyler Biadasz. What is he calling him? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see how much y'all been paying attention over the last. Pro Bowl Tyler Biadasz. I'm telling you. His agent's going in there saying he's a Pro Bowl center, sir. You know what else he's probably gonna say? Man, he gutted it out for y'all. He's playing on a bummed ankle. You know? Tough. Look what happened when he wasn't in the game. When he's healthy, he's Pro Bowl Tyler Biadasz. If y'all don't know, the whole Pro Bowl Tyler Biadasz thing is more tongue-in-cheek because I don't believe he was a Pro Bowler. Yeah, no, my rule on here is, were you a Pro Bowl player or did you get the Pro Bowl popular vote? I don't think he was a Pro Bowl player. I thought he was a fine center last year. I don't think he was one of the best centers in the league. Was he one of the best centers in the NFC? Maybe top 5, but again, when you put NFC, AFC, I don't think he liked that. But he was a good center last in 2022. So when you look at the report that says, hey, we're sitting down with Tyler Biadasz's agent, boy, it sounds like they want to bring him back. Maybe I'm looking too hard in this thing. But I don't think Tyler Biadasz is going to get some amazing deal out on the open market either. And if he likes Dallas, he wants to be here, it would not shock me. It would not shock me if he returns. And that's where I want to start with my first scenario, Cowboys Nation. Here's scenario number 1 with Tyler Biadasz returning to the Cowboys. Okay, these are O-line scenarios without Tyron Smith. I think this is one of the more popular ones that was popping up across Twitter. And we're going to talk this out with all y'all. I want to know how y'all feel about this. The first scenario, you move Tyler Smith to left tackle. You insert TJ Bass at left guard. They re-sign Tyler Biadasz and you roll with Zach Martin, Terrence Steele. Nothing will change in these scenarios from the right side. This will all be from the center down to the left. This scenario means you go into the draft. You go to the draft BPA. Look, it ain't ideal. It's not at all. Y'all know how I feel about the center position. I'm looking for an upgrade. If you sign Tyler Biadasz, you're not drafting a center in this draft. Tyler's getting, what, a 3-4 year deal. They like to do 4-year deals, 5-year deal. He probably will get a 5-year deal, whatever. He's your future center, right? And at the very least, this is what you'll sell yourself on. Well, you know what? We've had number 1 offenses with Tyler at center, right? We can go into the draft now pure. Would this be the most ideal? I'm looking for an upgrade. I'm gonna be honest. I'm looking for an upgrade at center. I don't mind Tyler left tackle, Bass left guard, although I'd rather pair Bass with a center. And I'm not even, look, I like TJ Bass, but I'm also open to the idea that, hey, if I keep Tyler at left guard, I'll grab me a tackle. Okay. Well, let's take a look at that scenario real quick. But this is also with Tyler Biadasz at center. Here's my second scenario for the Cowboys. They bring back Tyler Biadasz. They elect to keep Tyler Smith at left guard, giving you continuity in the middle of that defense or offensive line between Tyler Smith, Biadasz, Zach Martin. And now you're only really replacing one position with a left tackle, whether that be a rookie in a draft or a free agent. My guess would be a rookie. And with the Cowboys having met with how many? 11 offensive linemen, a lot of them tackles. This is the other scenario. Again, none of these are really ideal to me, but how we feeling? Keeping Tyler Smith at left guard, re-signing Tyler Biadasz and drafting likely a rookie. I just doubt they go into free agency looking for a left tackle. In this scenario, I'd personally rather kick Tyler at left guard, at left tackle in general. Let's just be honest. Well, these are scenarios without Tyron. All reports are Tyron is gone. All reports of Tyron are up out of here. So these are my first two. I got two more scenarios that are possibilities, and we got a Doomsday one coming up too. But before we do that, it's only right we hit the phone lines. And I got to start it off with my guy, VIP. What's good, VIP?
My God. Look. I'm trying to calm down still. You realize this is official Slurpee season. So there's a lot of slurps going on. But what I like was sort of both your scenarios. But I see Biadasz get bodied too much, man.
Oh, I agree. I'm not trying to bring back Tyler Biadasz. I'm just saying they met with his reps, right? So if they met with his reps, there's interest to bring him back. And I'd have to guess it'd be cheaper than bringing back Tyron Smith, and they're all about their money. And they're all about going into the draft, not having a pressing need. And bro, and I'm gonna get to a couple of these other situations. If they could potentially go into the draft with two pressing needs at offensive line.
And that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't, because you and I both know we want the best player on the board. Whatever the best player, because to me, I want a true Mike. That's what I really want, and that's what I've been kind of searching this little draft and in the draft. That's what we really, truly, to help. That's what we really need.
Talking about linebacker?
Yeah, a true Mike line, a real Mike line, a real middle linebacker, not a make pretend, not somebody you made into a middle, a real, true middle linebacker.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like in free agency, you can get that. Maybe I should say this. I don't feel comfortable with them going into free agency getting starting offensive linemen. I feel like they're either going to bring back, one of their guys and possibly Tyler, or they're going to go into the draft and draft multiple guys or one guy and use TJ Bass as a potential option. But I feel like it's easier to go into the draft and get your offensive line because you can have that guy for the future. Whereas if they're just trying to plug somebody in at Mike, they can probably do that in free agency. And still, I would still draft the backer, but you can get that backer day two.
Right. But we all know that, our ownership likes a parking lot pimp. I want on March 11th, I need Jerry and his son to be at the top of the line. I don't want no second day, third day signings. I need first day signings. There's a couple of linebackers that's out there in free agency.
Yeah,
Tampa's linebacker. There's a few that I would like. Yeah, all right, he's a plug and play.
I'd sign two. I would sign. Here's my ideal situation. Now I want to go into more detail on this at some point. I would trade for Eric Kendricks and I would sign Azeez Al-Shire. I would, and then I still draft me a linebacker at some point. But that's what I do.
Right, and now, like you said, now I would definitely kick 73 out because I'd rather Dak be protected out there and not have to worry about a rookie. Not that I'm saying not drafting a tackle. But I'd rather, because we all know it's easier to draft a guard than it is a tackle. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I believe so. That's my thought process. Yeah.
So that's why, and keep it respectfully. Like, look, Bachelor didn't play that bad last year when he was given the opportunities, though. So you give him an off a season to get peanut buttered up and get in the gym up. He might be something that he wasn't to the point where he was like he was a glaring oh man, we got to do something at that guard. He wasn't. To me, he's got a little toughness about him. Even that backup center, I like this kid. What was his? Oh man, I can't remember her own name.
Brock Hoffman. I would not rely on Brock Hoffman to be my starter. No, I think Brock Hoffman.
No.
Yeah, as a utility.
He's a good backup though.
Yeah, sure. But I'm looking for an impact center. And I feel like I got to get that in the draft if I'm going to get me a center for the foreseeable future. But if they bring back Tyler, that's not the case.
Right. So who is if you were the GM, all right, you're GM, you're Big Willie, you're sitting in there with Big Will and Jerry, and you could make that final call. Who would you pull that? What are we, 24th, right? Who is that 20? Who would you pick? Where would you go with it?
Y'all love asking me this question, and now it's March. It's too early, VIP. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
It's just I know free agency we don't do a whole lot, but I truly do feel like they have to address at the very least the linebacker position in free agency. We need to know, what are they doing with Tyler Biadasz? What if they bring back Tyler, right? What are they doing with Tyler Smith? These questions have to be answered in the next 10 days. If they say, hey, they re-signed Tyler Biadasz, guess what? Center's off my list. I'm not drafting a center anymore.
Right.
If they say Tyler Smith is my left tackle, guess what? The left tackle is off my list. So that changes everything. Right now, you need a center, you need a left tackle, you need a linebacker, you need a defensive tackle. You know, it's a lot of positions.
You can pick up that 4-2 wide receiver too. I mean, there's a few options. But you're right. We have to let the free agency. See, that's a good thing, because there's a little window for that free agency. Then we got there's another 2-week, 3-week gap before the actual draft, so we can watch all this play out. But I like to be in front of the race. I don't like to be playing behind like Jerry and them do. So hopefully we can get in front of this. That's all I'm asking for, respectfully.
No, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Hey, appreciate the call, VIP.
Look, you already know what it is. I'm a ride or die for you. Just because I don't call in don't mean I'm not lurking. I'm not into hypothesis and osmosis. I want something of substance. Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't call in as much. But your hitter's still here. So if I catch a Slurpee out here, I'm still lurking for you, big boy.
Appreciate you, bro. I'm with
you. My God.
Bro. I'm with you. I don't like to just be on here with the whole tinfoil stuff, but let's get to Jack. What's good, Jack?
What's up, Sky? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How are you?
I'm awesome and amazing. Now, with all due damn disrespect,
I knew that was coming.
if they keep Tyler Biadasz, then you go draft you a guard or a tackle, depending on what they're going to do with Tyler Smith. If hypothetically all your tackles are gone, I
don't think that's gonna happen, brother.
I mean, I know it's a deep position. I know it's a very, very deep. But I'm just talking about the ones that the impact ones, the top 5. Now there's still some good tackle guards in there, and this is only if they keep Tyler Biadasz.
I think there's a plug and play. There's going to be a plug and play tackle available for you. Man. There will be.
Oh yeah, I mean, and again, it depends on what they do with Tyler Smith. If they keep him inside, then all right, you go get you a tackle. And just like you said, there are some definite plug and play tackles. If they kick him outside, which I think that would be definitely contribute to the success of our offensive line. Definitely would. I would go get one of those guards. And there's a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? If they don't keep Tyler Biadasz, then let's go get a center. Let's go get a center. Let's go do that in the draft middle linebacker in the second round. And then fill in get another linebacker.
Hey, Jack, I'm gonna let you go because it's a lot of background noise going there, but I'll touch on some of that. All right, brother. Appreciate you, Jack. Yeah, it's working at windmill. To me, it's a lot of options, man. For offensive line, I feel like you're going to have one of these dudes. This might be, and I can't wait to talk to Foots even more tomorrow about this. Vach definitely later today about this. This just feels like an extremely deep offensive line class to the point where if you need one, you're going to be in good position even at 24 to do it because you got the wide receivers showing out, and you'll probably get 5 of them taken in the first round. Roughly, I don't know. You get the quarterbacks taken, right? Handful of defenders and corners, and at 24, I just feel like you're still going to have the pick of the litter of an offensive lineman that you want. And maybe that's another reason why they decided to do what they decided to do with Tyron. Again, my issue with moving on from Tyron is not moving on from Tyron. It is being reactive to the situation. Had they been proactive last year, the Cowboys would have been sitting on Matthew Bergeron and Tyler Smith on the left side of the football field, and we wouldn't be having any discussions about this. It's not about moving on from him. It's about how we got to this situation. Here's another scenario, and this is one that Jack kind of briefly touched on here. You kick Tyler Smith out the left tackle. TJ Bass moves in at left guard, and this is all going into not free agency, but the draft potentially. Zach and Terrence on the other side. So now we're only looking at the center position. Again, this one for me, if I had to lean on one of the three I just talked about, this one, again, you're going to be going into the draft likely pigeonholed and cornered. You never want to do that, right? And if you say, well, Sky, go out and get a center in free agency just in case, that's fair too. Or you can say, well, Sky, Brock Hoffman, right? That's your backup plan. I don't want to go into the draft like, you know what? If we don't get our center, Brock Hoffman is my guy for 17 weeks. Now, you can get another center. You got the Van Pran kid from Georgia. Maybe you get him on day 2 of the draft. So that's a thing as well. So if I had to pick one of these situations, none of them, again, ideal. Some people might want Tyler Biadasz back. I'm looking to upgrade the spot. This feels more like, okay, I get into the draft. My left side is cool. My right side is cool. I get me a center for the future. And depending on how TJ Bass performs in 2024, if he's even the guy, then maybe they'll be in competition with Austin Richards, right? Whoever the left guard is, but we're going with TJ Bass here. If he is not the guy, you still have 3 centerpieces, and this is with the thought that Terrence Steele gets back to being Terrence Steele. You have Tyler and Terrence, your bookends, and you have your young up-and-coming center. Let's just say Zach Frazier or whomever, right? Maybe Zach goes at 24, and then the whole world goes crazy, just like they did when Fred Beard was taken. But here's another scenario, Cowboys. How we feel about this one? Tyler Smith, left tackle, TJ Bass, left guard. You draft your rookie, whether it's JPJ, Barton, Van Pran, Frazier. There's another Wisconsin kid. Are we going to be scared now? Are we going to draft scared to draft the helmet? Scout the helmet is what they say. But taking another Wisconsin center, or y'all ain't ready to go there yet? Because I know y'all there with Michigan. Y'all don't want any Michigan players. Specifically defensive linemen. But there is a Wisconsin center as well. And Professor O, I know you ain't I know you definitely on your Georgia Bulldog. The bigger issue is not Terrence Steele. The bigger issue is center. We already did we did, let me see if I can find this again. We did the film study on Terrence Steele in that Green Bay game. I don't like to just guarantee a bunch of things. That ain't what I do. But I feel a whole lot better about Terrence Steele moving forward than I did coming into that game. He looked much healthier, more refined, disciplined, back to who he was. Terrence Steele, look, if you want to talk about being worried, I'm more worried about what we do at center. I think Terrence is going to be fine. I'm going to let this play out just so you can see, Jay Recruiter, just so you can watch the film. I'm telling you, watch the tape. Tape don't lie. Now, Terrence Steele, week 5, Terrence Steele, week 8, off the ACL, yeah. Terrence Steele, 18, 19 weeks into the season, was not the same player. He 100% improved immensely, and the film does not lie at all. He was one of your best offensive linemen in this game. He was better than Zach Martin. Yep. And you can see it in his movements. Bishop Kang. What's up with you, man? How we feeling?
Yeah, you hear?
I got you. There's a lot of background going on there, but I got you.
Oh, really? I ain't gonna lie. I'm working, right? I just be listening to it on my phone because I be clicking it off on YouTube in my pocket and shit.
Okay.
So I'd rather just listen to it on my phone. But, yeah, I really ain't got shit. I'm just listening to y'all.
I got you, brother. I got you, brother. I'll just let you listen to it then. Appreciate you. Twan.
Appreciate you, though.
Yes, sir. Twan, what's up, Twan?
Sky, what's good, baby? How you doing today?
I'm good, fam.
Man, this Cowboy team just shows me like you said earlier in the show, we're allergic to being proactive.
Yeah.
We're allergic to being proactive. So now we're more in a big of a pickle with our offensive line because now Tyron Smith is gone after an All-Pro season. I don't get that, Sky. Can you explain that to me? Because maybe you have more of an inside scoop. Because I don't understand why you get rid of a man. Yes, he's injury prone, but he had an All-Pro season. Why not work something out with him and draft somebody behind him and then get rid of him next year? Can you explain that to me?
Well, again, I might be in the minority here. I might be on an island here. Moving on from Tyron is not my problem. Like, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I thought it was easy to bring him back. I thought that was the no-brainer. But I never really talked about, well, what is he asking for? Right? And I can't ignore his injury history. I just can't do it.
Okay.
So for me, I had no problem bringing Tyron back, but it was with the understanding that, hey, dog, it's another incentive pay for play deal. Yeah, we found a situation, but bro, you be waking up and you be hurt. You didn't get hurt during the season. I'm sorry, in the games. You got hurt walking to practice.
Hurt in practice.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm cool with bringing you back, but I'm also going to take your replacement. So if I don't have a long-term plan for Tyron Smith, then I need my replacement to be ready on the team, ready to go. So that's why tackle to me was always still at the top of this board, whether it be 1, 2, or 3 or whatever. It needed to be at the top of this board. So I'm not as up in arms of moving on from Tyron. What pissed me off, or pisses me off about the situation, Twan, is that this should have been done last year.
I agree.
So if you did this last year, you're not having this. Oh my God, we moved on from Tyron Smith. Yes, he had a fantastic season, All-Pro season, and you bring him back on another 1-year deal. But Tyron also is a human being, and he's not trying to come back on a 1-year deal. He's not a robot. Tyron want to get paid. So what's Tyron going to do? I'm gonna hit this open market. I'm gonna get my 3-year deal worth $50 million or whatever it is. And some team is going to, take that risk, and he's going to play 12, 13 games for that team. And hopefully, right, he'll play that many games for that team. But for me, it's about the process and how we got here, bro. Like, and if you want to add my opinion on another thing, if we're truly in this lame duck year where we're just going to throw everything into all the chips into the middle, yeah, Tyron was another no-brainer because you're in this for one more season, but I don't think Tyron wanted 1-year deal.
Makes sense. So now my thing is, I feel like we have to go lineman with the first pick, whether it's center or tackle. Am I wrong with that?
Even with Tyron here, you were kind of already looking at that, right?
Yeah.
But now it can be more pressing if they don't move Tyler out to left tackle.
Would you suggest that, move Tyron out to left tackle?
I'm been talking myself into it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm more leaning towards that.
I understand why, because that's a blind side of the quarterback, but he's such a great guard. After having an All-Pro guard season, I don't know. Like we're in some shit, Sky. This is going to be an interesting season.
We are.
This is why I said I don't have no faith in them, and it's more so just the front office. So it's going to be hard for me to root. So all that wide receiver shit that the whole Cowboy Nation was rooting for the draft and go get them. Nah, I'm totally out on that now. I'm saying offensive line immediately, because one thing I can say the Cowboys are good at is drafting offensive linemen. Will McClay and the Joneses are great at drafting offensive linemen. I wanted to draft one last year, but We didn't. We got Mozzie's silly ass.
Stop.
But now we have to go. We have to go offensive lineman with the first pick. And to me, it has to be center or tackle. Man.
Not yet. It's not over yet. But appreciate you, Twan.
Yeah, peace.
See, that's my thing. Let me get back to this one right here. Oh, let me see. If this is the situation, you're really not pressed to take offensive linemen. That's why, getting so attached to anything right now is just creating false either hope or whatever. There's some people attached to having to take a lineman, and obviously that is a pressing need. There's some attached to having to take a linebacker. It's also a pressing need. There's some attached to we got to take wide receiver. That don't look at that as a pressing need, but that's a potential BPA situation sitting there. It's too early. Because if this is the scenario, right? If they re-sign Tyler Biadasz, kick Tyron Smith out, this technically, whether you like this situation or not, this is technically giving you the chance to go into the draft, I think, clean, depending what they do in free agency. Stop lying about what? Y'all just be saying something, man. What are you talking about? If they do this here, you're going into free agency if they take a linebacker, right? They signed 2 linebackers. I got to stop giving nonsense attention. But some people, they late to the party, so we're talking about scenarios, sir, of without Tyron Smith, because the Cowboys sat down with Tyler Biadasz's reps. So if you were late to the party, let me run this back for y'all late to the party before I say anything crazy. Cowboys sat down with Tyler Biadasz's reps to discuss a potential deal. So they are interested in bringing Tyler Biadasz back. Just say it. But anyway, like I was saying, if this is the situation, you sign linebackers, preferably for me too. My ideal situation for linebacker: trade for Eric Kendricks, trade a 7th round pick, whatever. Eric Kendricks, sign Azeez Al-Shire, pay a little bit of money. Now you're going to the draft kind of free in this situation. But this is the Doomsday situation. If they say, nope, we're going to keep Tyron Smith at left guard. We don't want you back, Tyler Biadasz. TJ Bass is not my answer at center. Good Lord, this is a bad situation to be in, man. This is a bad situation to be in. Because now we go into this draft, and let's just pretend they don't sign a free agent at any of these positions. And I just can't see this happening, knowing them. But let's say we go into the draft, you don't have a starting center. You don't have a starting left tackle because you decide to keep Tyron Smith at left guard. That's a tough one to be in. Now, you can argue, put Tyler at left tackle, and if they don't believe in TJ Bass, now we got a center and guard situation. But I don't think they do that. I think they'd say, hey, let's go look at this. Not that one. Let's go look at this list of formal meetings we had and draft one of these guys. We talked about Mims last week. Had a fantastic combine. Dude is huge. 6'7", 340, athletic, moves great. All them offensive linemen move great. Let me just say this right now, though. If the Cowboys ended up taking one of these guys, I don't think Fuaga's going to fall to you. Mims would be great. If they take one of these really good offensive linemen, I don't know how you can be upset. I mean, obviously, it depends who's on the board, right? That's all every year. Who's on the board? But, I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's Dak Prescott or it's another quarterback in the future, you're going to need to have a front. For too many years, we've gotten into the playoffs and we haven't been able to move guys, or we haven't ran the ball well, whether that be from poor blocking up front or poor game planning. We can't, throughout the years or the season, talk about getting to the playoffs and not being able to do it, but they're not addressing that if it's staring at you in the face to help upgrade it. And one thing about the Cowboys, and this is what I told Foots, if they take an offensive lineman, I ain't saying nothing because 9.9999 times out of 10 in the first round, they're all pro. Like there aren't too many sure things in the NFL draft. But one sure thing is the Cowboys have taken a first round tackle, all pro. First round center, all pro. First round guard, all pro. First round guard, all pro. That's crazy. That's a crazy hit rate. So forgive me if we take one of these dudes in the first round and I'm not bent out of shape about it based off of the history that this specific, scouts and Will McClay and them boys have hit on in regards to offensive linemen. So excuse me. I just will not be upset with it. They don't miss. And it's an extremely important position. Good morning, Toxic. What you got?
I just want to say what another beautiful morning it is today in Dallas, Mifflin. Everything's going great. Everyone's panicking, but we'll find a way to make this salvageable. First off, I want to say, second off, really what the conversation you're saying today, spot on. I 100% agree with you. It's more about the why than it is about the actual situation of us moving on from Tyron Smith. Don't really hear that kind of conversation other than on the new age media. So just want to shout out to all the content creators out there who are bringing these discussions to light, because the how is way more important than the why, especially with the offensive line, which last year had a problem with the how and not exactly the why. Kind of go figure. The one thing I'll say about Tyler Biadasz or Tyler Biadasz, whatever they're calling him now.
How he on the team for 4 or 5 years and you don't know his name? That's crazy. The general manager.
Yeah,
wow.
My tinfoil hat, I think he did it on purpose as petty negotiating. Like, he gave him a number and he scoffed at it and he goes, I got to go talk to the media. And he purposefully said his name wrong just to subtly jab at his agent. Nah, we ain't paying that. That's just tinfoil hat. But I will say this. Whenever I try to put my Stephen Jones hat on, usually I have to put a paper bag or a plastic bag on my head, wait till I'm about to suffocate, and then jot down the first thing that comes to my mind, because it's usually so stupid. I can understand why they might want to go down this route, because they're not going to trade up. They're not going to be aggressive in free agency. Oh, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you. I'm just making sure we still live. I saw one of my wheels spinning. I just want to make sure we were still live. Go ahead, keep talking. Oh, we good. All right, go ahead.
Cool. I view it as they're hedging their bets, because I am of the opinion, I think Vach said it last week. By the way, everyone tune into the Vach Lombardi show. Excellent listen every time.
Every time.
If there's a guy that you really want, you go get him. And if I'm going into the draft, and to me, I'm not this draft heavy guy. To me, draft picks, you get them every year unless you trade them all away like the Panthers did. To me, I'm not as invested into the draft because I want to win right now. I think you should be all in every single year if you have a franchise quarterback. That's your window, which we have, by the way. I am no problem trading picks to go get dudes, especially if I need a specific dude. But the idea that us walking into the draft, if we let Tyler Biadasz leave, and you're telling me I have to bank on TJ Bass, and I hope Powers falls to me, I do not like that scenario with this front office. That scenario scares the living crap out of me, because if it goes wrong, I don't trust them to address the position of need without them maybe overdrafting in a later round, or just putting all their eggs in one basket and some red character flag dude that's been injured 16 times, has 3 felonies in 3 different states, but he fell to our laps. We can make the best out of him.
So you're saying
I'm like you
don't trust them. You don't trust them if this is a situation here. Tyler Smith left tackle, TJ Bass left guard, and we need a rookie center. You don't trust them to grab that center.
I don't trust them that they would go grab that center. I think they would wait and try to let it fall to them. If we were sitting there at 20 and he's still on the board and there's even a risk of losing him, to me, I would go get my dude and just be happy with it. I would see them just sitting there waiting because Stephen Jones loves cheap labor more than anything else. I could see him saying, we're not going to trade a third-round pick to go get a guy we need. We love our board. We love our guys.
They did it
That's
before.
The issue.
They did it for D-Law, I think, back in 2014, but that was a while ago. But real quick, man, let me tell you about somebody who ain't cheap. Zach Golston. Zach Golston just dropped $300 in the super chat. Good Lord, appreciate you, Zach Golston. He just says, "What's up, Sky? I'm doing fantastic. You just made the day better. Thank you, Zach Golston."
Yeah, and awesome, that absolutely huge donation. So I want to say thank you as well. I don't even work for A to Z Sports, but very generous. I don't want to go into the draft. I don't like going to the grocery store hungry. And I just know that this team.
Nah, this ain't even hungry, bro. If this is the situation, right? You need a left tackle, you need a center, you need this, you need that. You going into the grocery store after rolling up and you got the munchies. That is the absolute worst time to go to the grocery store. Because not only do you go to the grocery store and you grab a whole bunch of unnecessary things, you overspend, but you grab things that you absolutely do not need. That is not good for you.
You're right. And my next point on Tyler Biadasz is, we saw with Connor Williams when he left, and I know some Cowboy fans are still reeling over Connor Williams. Connor Williams, when he was in a scheme that made sense, they had one of the best rushing attacks in the entire NFL, and he was one of the better centers in the entire NFL. Do you think that if Tyler Biadasz was to be re-signed, I know some people are already freaking out that we are, if he were to be re-signed, is there a scheme that you would like that would bring out the strengths of Tyler Biadasz and make it better than it was last year?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think he's the athlete for that particular type of zone scheme, because I think you were talking about Connor Williams, right? I don't think he's that type of athlete, and I don't think he has that power either to be like just a power man type of offense. You know, but I do think in short spurts, the trap gap scheme, he can be successful, and he's shown that he can be a player in a gap scheme. But he didn't move well last year. I would imagine it was because of him being hurt. But if you go look at it in 2022, he moved better. I still wouldn't say he was just an amazing athlete, but he definitely got to the second level a lot better than he did last year. So I don't think he'd be a fish in water in this particular scheme. I just don't think if he was healthy, then you cannot bring him back. Because if that's the Tyler Biadasz I'm going to get from a movement standpoint, he doesn't work in this scheme. But if he's going to be healthy, then, obviously you've seen you can still be a really good offense under Tyler Biadasz. 1 second, y'all. You can keep going real quick.
Then my last point, I would say, and this is my final thought, the Tyron Smith situation should be a lessons learned, especially to fans. This is exactly why you don't take team-friendly discount deals. He has been on a team-friendly discount his entire career. The Cowboys have been underpaying for an all-pro Hall of Fame left tackle for over a decade now. And what did they do with the money that they saved from that deal? Absolutely freaking nothing. I think that it's in. What's that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Toxic, I have to close. I got a bit of an emergency, so I have to close out this show real quick. Appreciate you calling in. I can't get to the super chat. Apologies for the closeout, but a bit of a family emergency right here. So I will.
Godspeed. I'll hop off.
Thank you, brother. I will get back with you guys later today if